on the so yeah, we do these things every now and then when we get some success stories. We love sharing success stories, and one of the reasons why, in fact, it's so funny. Before you get into this, I want to share with you what's interesting in our system. Every time we share one of these success stories with the rest of our clients, we see a spike in CRM usage. Like they get motivated. Oh wow, I got to do more. I want to do better. So that's one of the reasons we truly want to create that atmosphere of sharing amongst everybody, and bringing up the value. So I appreciate you doing it. And you were just saying how you got into it. Tell us a little bit about that.
So basically how I got into the real estate game, I was in sales majority for my whole life. My dad was a builder, so I knew I wanted to do some stuff with him. I didn't have the construction skills, even though I worked with him. I just had, I had to pick up another talent. So I got into sales at a young
Yeah.
age, which was great. And then I got into real estate, started doing my course, and got my license by 25. I'm now 30, so
Okay.
I
5 years
just
ago,
turned
eh?
30. Yeah. So, time flies by when you're having fun, and it's so true because
Yeah.
real estate will make your years go by so fast. Um,
Well,
but,
it's what you love, right? If you're doing what you love to do, it's not work. It
totally.
doesn't feel like work in any way, shape, or form, and that's what's amazing about that when you're doing something you absolutely love. So yeah, that's awesome, and that's very very glad that you found your passion.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm super happy I am too. And I'm happy that I was able to find it at a younger age, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the thing. But so I got into the game at 25. I started with a part-time job, saved enough money, and then jumped in full time. Once I jumped in full time, I had fun. I joined KW. I had a mentor at that time. So the mentor was helping me do everything else. And then once I got in, my first 8 months, I did a bunch of leases, like 15 leases, and then I flipped three of
Wow.
them to purchase. So I did
Nice.
okay. I did
Nice.
like 50 grand, and I worked part time. So, hey, this was great,
That's awesome.
doing this in 8 months. So then I saw the opportunity on, joining my mentor because I liked the way he did business and I liked everything about that. And it
Yeah.
took him. I asked him, and he's like, no. Every time I asked him, he was like, no, you're not ready yet. If you join now, you're just going to abuse me. So you're not going to appreciate it.
Wow.
So I was like, okay,
Interesting.
whatever. So then he saw me do well because I had to prove myself, right? So then
Yeah.
he asked me, and I was like, I was so close to say no because I was like, you know what, no, right? But I did and had a great time. So the reason why
Nice.
I'm telling you this is because he used a few online systems because that's how he
Nice.
built his business, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I was able to try a few platforms at the time,
Oh,
and
nice.
I
That's awesome.
yeah. So one was a seller campaign, one was just agent locator, and there was
Yeah.
another one as well too. But
Yeah.
ultimately, I really like your platform, and I'll tell you why. If you're a real estate agent, right now, if you go on Treb, you can't see what they're looking at, and you don't know what they're viewing or how many times they viewed. I mean,
Right.
on your platform, on the new generation that I have, I can see that.
Yeah.
And that's huge. So what I've been doing is actually instead of using Treb, which they only limit 200 or X amount, I've been
Yeah.
putting the right people into there and then been funneling my system. On KW, we actually do automated systems and stuff. I've been taking advantage of that. So I've been
Nice.
transferring some of that stuff right into, the agent locator.
Nice.
So I was on the team for 2.5 years, and I just jumped during the pandemic. So people called me crazy, but I was like, whatever. I know this is the time, and for me, I was like, I'm not going to risk my life and have to make double the sales to be secure. So no, if I'm gonna risk my life, I'm taking all the risk.
So you
Um,
jumped off the team as the pandemic started. You kind of went off your own because I'm checking when you signed up. You signed up with us March 6th,
yeah,
and that would have been like midst of when they locked us down, when they said they're
exactly.
locking everything down. So oh my God, that must have been an interesting feeling. How did you make that decision? I mean, that must have been a really hard. I mean, not only are we going through a huge change as the entire world, but you're also making a huge change as a career perspective. That's interesting.
Totally, yeah. So for me, like I said, I had the right things happen in my life. I had the right
Yeah.
coaches, the right people involved. So my mentor really showed me on how to do things, and I just wanted my spin on it. So
Yeah.
what I learned that I was good at dealing with, not cold leads per se, but random strangers. I'm really good
Internet
at,
leads. Internet.
you know
Let's
what I'm
call them.
saying?
Let's call them what they are. Honestly, they're let's call them what they are. They're crappy leads. Most internet leads are
Because they're
crappy
not
leads, but you.
qualified,
That's
right?
right. But
Exactly,
you make them into good leads. There's a lot of gold in the number
100%.
of leads. there's a ton of it. And speaking of goal, let's actually jump a little bit ahead. And so you've joined in March. You kind of started as of May, and you've been with us now, so it's January. How many deals have you closed so far?
So in 2018, I closed, or not 18, 2020, I closed 9, I believe, out of that.
9 deals. Awesome.
Yes.
That's incredible, man. And you know, we generally have clients always ask us these questions when anybody says they close the number of deals. Like, how many leads do you get on a month-to-month basis? How many leads are you getting each month?
Great question. So I started with the 2 to 250.
Okay.
What's recommended to start. And
Yeah.
excuse me, I actually had some really great reps. So kudos to you and your customer service and the people that have been working. Everyone that helped me took care of me, and they really made sure I was good. So in that sense, I was able to really come with any kind of questions or new
Yeah.
kind of thoughts and
So you
pick
had
some
the
people's
support
brain.
really there to make sure that you know how to use the system and help you go through that process. Because one of the things that you went through was our process of we have trainers that actually have a one-on-one session with you, and they check in on you once a week to make sure you got everything
Yes.
down, you got all the answers. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm very happy you took full advantage of that.
And
And
And sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you,
yeah,
but it was the
please.
advice too. Like they were saying that, they were saying, I think Richard and the other lady Karen, they were both awesome. But they were also saying that every time you do a lead, put $100 towards there. Like keep adding an extra $100. So the
Upping the
reason why
budget.
I'm telling you this is because the first 2 months, I did the 250 minimum. I closed one deal in that 30 days, which is lucky because online leads, remember, is 3 to 18 months. Okay,
Yes.
3 to 18 months, as you and I both know it, but it's
Yeah.
recording, so I'm just trying to let people know.
Yeah. No, that's great.
And from there, it's just, how can I get in contact sooner? Why I like you guys the best is because people are searching you guys at an early stage. They're on Google and
Yeah.
they're searching homes in Clarington, homes in Pickering, homes in Oshawa, wherever, right? And yes, they're not the best leads, but I mean, at the end of the day, right now, especially in a pandemic, you can't do anything. Like for me, I did door knocking, online leads, and it was also going to the bank, like my bank days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the problem is I don't have two of them now. So what do I need to do? I need to really update my online and social game. So that's
Right.
exactly what I've been doing.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah. So, at the end of the day, doing that, telling what you guys are doing is great. I'm at $500 now. I'm thinking I'm also gonna re-up shortly soon too, anyways, because I'm working with a couple
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, the biggest hurdle you're going to run into after a little while is you're going to hit your capacity, right? You're going to hit your capacity in terms of being able to diligently qualify and follow up with the leads, because in that capacity, I've honestly seen some clients go up to $2,000 a month and that hit their capacity, and I've seen some clients go up to $1,000 a month and hit their capacity, saying that I can't handle it anymore and they need to get assistance and get other people involved. And I'll give you a word of advice: as you get other people involved with the system, one of the biggest issues that we have constantly is that churn, meaning that you're losing people. You get them on board, you train them, you teach them everything you need to know, and then they just leave because they've learned everything they need to know, just like we have. And that's okay, because when we think about it, that's what we would do. That's what you did. That's what I would. That's what everybody would do, because you're in this business as an entrepreneur. You're in this business as a self motivator, and if you could motivate yourself and get more out of what you want, then why not? Everybody should want that. So just keep that in mind. That way you understand, the process of how it works and everything else. So that's awesome, man. You've done an incredible job. That those are pretty much all the questions that people ask. Like, what area? You
Cool.
mentioned the areas you're in. You're in the Durham region.
Yeah.
You've closed 9 deals so far from the leads. You actually started in May with the program in full, and then you've
Exactly.
been upping your budget every now and then. That's awesome, man. Other questions, like, do you call your leads right away, or do you call all your leads? You only text leads? How do you work your leads?
Yeah, so great question. So what I do is I had Twilio installed. So Twilio is great because you guys do it the first 5 minutes and then after. I don't really recommend doing more afterwards, in my personal opinion. That's just
Yeah.
from my experience.
So the
Um,
SMS, you mean the SMS when
yes,
it goes out? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but so what I'm doing is now I've realized. So what I did is I called everyone that usually went in, but I've realized that not a lot of people are callers. So I went back to leads from 80, 60 to 200 days ago, and they're still active because remember, 3 to 18 months, right? And
Yes.
the
Of
best
course.
part is probably no. realtor followed up, and maybe it was just a phase that they were just searching. So
Yeah.
the money's in the follow up, right? Like sometimes I call people like 7, 10 times until I figure it out. And also I think a really good tool that you guys have is I joined your call that not so much your call, but the calls that you guys introduced where it's like those three agents did over 51 deals or whatever, and listening to
Yeah.
what they did. Honestly, I do the same thing. I do the
Yeah.
exact same thing.
Text. So most of your responses end up coming in from text messages that are being sent out, and then you communicate from there, right? You're then creating that relationship and establishing it based on the responses that are coming in from SMS messages.
Yeah, and then what I've done is since I have like another database where I do have automated messages and like my automated scripts, I have now like not fully because I'm starting to do the workflow and stuff, but I have them saved in my CRM stuff. So now maybe I am doing a little bit of a manual, so I am wasting my time a little bit, but I'm
Yep.
just starting to see what I'm just experimenting, put it that way.
Sure. Of
So I just
course.
want to make
Yeah.
sure.
Of course. That's awesome, man. That's great. What would you say to an agent? So the actual question is, if you had one thing to tell others agents to help them succeed with internet leads, what would that be? So if you had one thing to say to them, brand new agent, never done internet leads before, what do you say to them to help them succeed?
So obviously, other than calling and the follow up, I'm gonna be upfront and honest with you. Get motivated. Get motivated to call. For me, I really have a great script, and my script is fire. Like it's just super easy. I come from a customer service based role where
Nice.
then people are now going to start opening up to me and now going to tell me what their criteria is, opposed to me being, "Hey, Nick, I'm the real estate agent that's going to sell you a
Right.
house." So just knowing your sales approach and knowing like where you can add value and being motivated. That's the best
Knowing what to say,
advice.
knowing what to say and how to say it, and be the customer service representative rather than the sales guy that's trying to sell them and push them into it. So, that's amazing advice. Thank you so much, Nick. I really appreciate it. Is there anything that we could do to better our service as a company? I mean, anytime if you have suggestions, you can always pass them back to your trainer. But if there's anything that you want to suggest, even to me or anybody else, we're always open suggestions. So anytime you have any suggestions, please share.
For sure.
Amazing, amazing. That was all of it, honestly, and really appreciate your time, Nick. I really do, and thank you so much for being a client. And we'll keep kicking ass with all of our
Yeah.
stuff and expanding our services and making sure that you guys can make money. One of the main things that I've looked at is I've said to myself, if I can't make you money, you're not going to pay me money.
Right.
And that's a motto that we've kept in line. So we're going to keep making you money, and you'll do what you do well, and we'll do what we do well, and we'll do well
Totally.
together. Yeah.
Totally. I appreciate it.
Amazing. You're most welcome. Thanks so much, Nick, for your time. And you got my email as well. If you have anything for me, let me know.
For sure. For sure. Can we chat off record? I'd love to pick
Yeah,
your
hang
brain
on.
about some stuff.
Yeah. Let me stop recording. Yeah.